Hello students. Yes, in this video I'll be explaining on types of financial plans. All right, so in my previous video I have explained on the meaning of financial plan, what's the purpose of planning, in terms of how the funds should be acquired, how it should be utilized, right? And we have discussed certain objectives with respect to financial planning. When the financial planner is taking, going ahead with making a financial planning, what are the objectives he need to keep in mind so as to achieve both short term goals as well as long term goals. So in this video, I'll just continue with the types of financial plan. All right, so namely we have three types of financial plans. One is a short term financial plan, the other one is a medium term financial plan, and the last one is a long term financial plan. Now what does it talk about? See, basically short term financial plans, it refers to the plan which is prepared for a period of less than 1 year. It can be of 1 year or less than 1 year. Now you know what this planning is all about. Now connect it with the short term, medium term and long term. So basically short term is where a plan, it is prepared. Of course it is prepared. What is the duration, ma'am? The duration is, it is of 1 year or less than that. It is called as short term financial plans, wherein these plans are used for 1 year or less than that. As the name itself tells, it is for short term. So these are prepared, for assessing the working capital needs of a firm. Now, what is working capital needs? Working capital is all about the funds what you require in order to run your day to day operations. That talks about working capital needs of a firm. And are this working capital fixed in nature? Of course, no, absolutely no. They are liquid in nature, right? They are short term in nature, where the fund is required, in order to run your operations, right? So these, they pertain to conducting, as I said, in order to conduct your day-to-day operations, and such plans, they are required to maintain a firm's liquidity. As I told, all these are liquid in nature, where easily it can be converted into cash, and they are very essential for meeting the obligations out of the firm's transactions. Obligation is nothing but the payment what you are going to make out of your business to the outsiders. So it becomes, out of the firm's transactions which is going to happen. So that is how the short term financial plan is going to work. Then apart from that, what you have to understand is that under this particular concept, one thing is that it is of 1 year or less than that, right? So then apart from that, what should be understood is that it is prepared for maximum, that is 1 year. Always this plan, it looks upon, or it emphasizes more upon the working capital management, that is the day to day needs of the organization. That's how the short term financial planning, a set of things which is given in the plan, are going to work in order to achieve the short term goals. The second what you have, as a financial plan, is a medium term financial plan. Now what does this medium term finance talk about? Listen to me carefully. See, it is nothing but again a plan that which are prepared between 1 to 5 years. The first one, short term financial plan, is where this kind of plans are, they are framed in order to use for 1 year or less than that. But coming to the second type, that is a medium term financial plan, it is always prepared between 1 to 5 years, right? This is the duration. So all, these kind of plans, they include for the, there can be a replacement of fixed assets. Now whatever is acquired over a period of year, it will lose its value, right? Which you basically call as a wear and tear of the asset, which is called as a depreciation, right? Every year it loses its value based on its usage. So what is going to happen? There can be a replacement of those fixed assets, like which need to be replaced from time to time based on the business requirement. That's very important. And it also includes a plan which is pertaining to the research and development activities also, right? And it is very essential feature of the present competitive business. You need to always study your competitors. You need to know, because it is actually a prevailing competitive market. There are so many competitors, every day are coming up with the new products, with the new services, with new investment strategies, with new tactics, right? They are taking a wise decision. So also the medium term financial plan, of course, it includes the working capital needs of the company. What's the what the company can do with the profits, whether it can go for the expansion, whether it can go for the diversification, right? It can think about all these aspects with respect to the medium term financial plan. To sum up with, what is medium term financial plan? It is a plan which is prepared for a period of 1 to 5 years, as I told. And this plan, it always looks after the replacement and the maintenance of the assets and the research and development, right? This is all about the medium term financial plan. So the last plan what you have is on a long term financial plan, as the name itself states, right? Which is prepared for more than 5 years. The first one short term, which is of 1 year or less than that. Medium term is between 1 to 5 years, whereas long term financial plans is required where they are prepared in the firm for a period of more than 5 years. So more than 5 years plans, that comes under the long term financial plans. What does it do, ma'am? It focuses on the long term financial needs. What are the long term requirements of the organization in terms of finance? What are the objectives of the organization? Always your financial planning, it is directly associated with the objectives of your organization. And it considers the policies and the programs which is relating to the overall capitalization, the net worth of the organization. And the capital structure is even more important, where the capital structure, it states about the financing mix. Is it debt is to equity? Is it debt is to equities to preference? Is it only equities to preference? So all these states about your financing mix, and what's the proportion of debt, what is the debt you have infused in the organization, and what is the equity in the capital structure that is dealt. Then what is the distribution of funds for long term investments, and is there a scope for expansion and diversification? And when can you think of expansion and diversification? Only when your existing business is doing absolutely great, that is financially sound, you can think of expanding, you can think of diversifying your business. So all these talks about the long term financial plans. So to sum up with the long term financial plan, basically the long term financial plan is prepared for a period of more than 5 years, fine. And it always look after the long term financial objectives of the company. As I said, always the long term financial plan, it is connected, it is directly connected with the objectives of the company, fine. And the capital structure, the expansion, diversification as well. So it is very very important. So basically financial planning is where you think of sourcing of the funds, that is basically financing, how you are going to invest, that is allocation, then how you are going to utilize the funds, that is very very important. Considering all this, you are going to come up with a financial plan. Under that we have three: one is short term, medium term, and long term. So in a short term financial plan is where the time period, the maximum is 1 year. And always short term financial plan, it looks after the working capital needs of the company. Where the medium term financial plan, the time period here, it is 1 to 5 years. Where the medium term financial plan, it looks after the replacement or the maintenance of assets. It can get into the research and development as well. The last type is long term financial plan, where the time period is more than 5 years here under long term. And what is the objective? It looks after the long term objectives of the firm, that is in terms of the capital structure, that is the financing, the optimal mix. Is it debt is to equity, or equity is to preference, or just the equity, right? So it talks about capital structure. And is there any scope for the expansion activities? Yes, under long term financial plan, yes, it is await. All right, so this is all about the three different types of financial plan.